I feel like I'm the Brady Bunch. Then I can go, this right there, there's the payment method. Okay. All right, everybody, I think we are live. Hello, I'm Margie Remmers-Davis, creator of the Fast and Easy Way to QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor certification. And if you are watching this live stream live, that means that you are a member of our locker room. So I am so delighted to have you. We've got some exciting things going on. As usual, I'm having a little bit of technical issues, so I am trying to, I was a couple minutes late because I'm trying to figure all of that out. So we'll see what happens when I share my screen. But anyway, we are going to go ahead and get started. As I mentioned, if you are watching this live, then that means you are a member of the locker room and you have access to our spreadsheet of free QBO hands-on exercises. So let me just share my screen here so that you can see. This is what I was trying to figure out. I was trying to figure out like the size. So I guess if now you can see it a little bit bigger there. Okay, so as a member of the locker room, so let me just click over here. This will look a little bit different because I'm an admin, but when you are in the locker room, you'll notice that there is this featured section, and in the featured section, that's where you're going to find the link to the exercises. We have nearly 100 hands-on practical exercises for you to test in QBO, and as I mentioned, as a locker room member, you have access to that, and looks like this right here. So the one that we are going to start with today, and I forgot to mention that if you want to interact with me on the live stream, then Joel has put in the chat the link that you have to give. You have to give Facebook permission to do that. So if you could do that, that helps me a lot because then I know who's talking to me if you have something you need to say. But anyway, so here is the spreadsheet that we're going to be using today. And you'll notice down at the bottom that there are different tabs that tell you where the exercises came from. So we have our free Getting Started course that comes with our basic level certification and comes with the QBO Gym, so that if you don't know anything about how to access QBO, how to get your free account, how to access the sample company, you're going to learn how to do all of that in the free Getting Started. And then we have our basic level course, our advanced level course, the QBO Gym, which I'll talk to you about in a little bit. Pro Advisor challenges are, thanks for everyone that's chiming in, good morning. Our Pro Advisor challenges, those are the ones that are in your Pro Advisor training. They're provided by Intuit. We just take them and turn them into our kind of signature format to make them a little easier to follow along. And then we have our special request ones and retired exercises. So retired ones are the exercises that we created for previous versions of the certification test. They're no longer being tested on currently, but hey, the exercise is out there, so you can go ahead and do them. So the exercise that we're going to be walking through today, and I forgot to mention that if you are watching if you're watching this on YouTube and you're watching the recording, of course, the links below all about getting access to the locker room. It's our free Facebook group. That information's there. And there's also a link all about the Pro Advisor program. So if you don't know, again, how to get your free account, get into the sample company, all of that stuff down below in the description. So today we're going to be going through one of our basic level exercises, and there's a very specific reason that I am doing this. So we are going to be, these are over on the left-hand side, you can tell what section of the test they're in, and that's what that number is. I thought that it was section 4. Here it is, set up recurring transactions. Okay, this is the one we are going to be working on today, setting up recurring transactions. And this is setting up a recurring sales receipt. Okay, so I'm just going to click on that right there, and we're going to open up our exercise. maybe, if we're awake. Oh, I see all of you hopping into the spreadsheet. Excellent. And then Joel is also going to put the link to this in the spreadsheet. And of course, if you're watching the recording, the link will be below. Okay, so we're going to talk about, so recurring transactions is, a real big time saver in QuickBooks Online. You definitely want to be using recurring transactions. In fact, yesterday in my own business, I spent some time, I, had to purchase some things that I wasn't sure that I wanted to keep. And so for a couple months, I was just manually putting in the subscription fee. And then yesterday I was like, okay, I know I'm going to keep these for a while, so I'm going to go ahead and set up the recurring transaction. Saves me a lot of time, so I don't actually have to do it every time. We are limited to what we can do in the sample company for recurring transactions because you can set them up, but every day the sample company resets, so you can't actually see the fruit of your labor. So that's kind of unfortunate. But there's it's a very specific reason why we're going over this particular exercise today. So let's go ahead and dive in. Here is the scenario. So Craig just signed on Gita Kalapatapu as a new client for weekly gardening. Rather than getting a bill that she has to remember to pay, Gita asked Craig if he could just charge her credit card on the 10th of every month. Luckily, Craig has already signed up for QuickBooks Payments, so he can do this right through QBO. All right, so important point number one is that the specific thing that we're going to show today, not recurring transactions in general, but the specific thing we're going to do today, which is charging somebody's credit card, you have to have a QuickBooks Payments account. Now, the QuickBooks Payments is, I'm not going to have my screen here for a minute, so let me hop over to this so I can talk to you directly. Okay, so QuickBooks Payments is the merchant account services that Intuit provides for pro advisors. This allows you to charge people's credit cards directly to receive payments, and you can charge them directly. You can send out invoices so that somebody can enter their credit card. This replaces having to use PayPal, for example, to send out an invoice or to collect a payment. And it is the beautiful thing about QuickBooks Payments is that it is integrated right with QBO, and so it's going to smoothly come right in. It's going to account for the merchant fees. It's just going to categorize them for you. It is beautiful. The rates, just like all merchant accounts, they have to get paid somehow, right? So all merchant accounts are going to charge you, a small fee for being able to take a credit card. But their rates are comparable with any other service that you might sign up for. So you definitely, everybody on this call should sign up for a QuickBooks Payments account. The way you do that is you go click the gear icon and you go to your company settings. In your account, it's called company settings. In the sample account, which you'll show it's called account and settings. So you won't be able to see it in the sample company. But for your own account, you want to set up, you click the gear icon, then you go to QuickBooks Payments, and then you apply for it, and then you'll get approved, and then you can now you can start taking payments. So it's a beautiful thing, and everybody should have this. There's no charge for it. The only time you're charged is when you're actually collecting money. So everybody should do this. And all right, let me go back to the exercise because this is important. This is important, guys. All right. So for Craig, you want to encourage Craig also to have QuickBooks Payments because then it's just automatically part of like the invoice. He sends out an invoice and they can just pay it right there, and then he can collect the money. Like, it's just so easy. Everybody should have it. All right, so you want to encourage Craig to do that. And luckily, in our example here, Craig has already signed up for QuickBooks Payments, so he can do this right through QBO. How would you set this up for him? Okay, so here is our exercise. So because you're collecting payment at the time of the sale, you all use a sales receipt for this transaction, okay? So you are collecting the money from Gita every month at the same time, okay? So you're going to click plus new sales receipt. And I'm just going to move this over to my other tab there. Just going to make it a little easier for me to go back and forth. Okay, so here I am. This is a fake account right here, and I'm just going to go to the sample company right here. So we always start in the sample company. Of course, it exits out, or it logs you out of your company. So let me just hop back over here. This was the very first thing. I actually skipped this in our exercise because I assumed we all knew that it was starting the sample company. So anyway, the sample company is still loading over there. So we're going to go to plus new and select sales receipt. Okay, so here I am, and going back here, click plus new. Oh, we've got the new left-hand nav bar today. I don't know if you noticed that. QBO is they're releasing a new left nav bar, and sometimes when you log in, you have the new left nav bar, and sometimes when you log in, you have the old left nav bar. And I don't know when that's going to stabilize. I don't know when it's going to be. Like someday, I think it's always going to be the new one, right? You would think that would be the case, but I don't know what they're thinking. I don't work for Intuit. I can't say. All right, so here we are. So I hit plus new, and now I'm going to click sales receipt. Okay, remember sales receipt is always payment at the time of services. Okay, so here is our sales receipt. Whew, this is so slow today. All right. You guys heard that we woke up, we had no power this morning. Actually, we heard a beeping last night, and it was at 1 o'clock in the morning. It woke us up, and the microwave had turned off, and it turned out we lost our power at 1 o'clock this morning. We went back to sleep thinking that it was, it would just come back on, and we woke up this morning, it still wasn't on. And then we called it in, and they said it'll be ready at 8. And then we checked again, and they said, nope, it'll be ready at 10. And I almost thought I wasn't going to be here today, but here I am. All right. So step two. All right. So we're going to select Gita as the customer, and we're going to put in weekly gardening services as the product or service. Okay. So customer is Gita. And then, can you see all this weekly? Notice that when I start typing, it pulls from both. This is the product name, and this is the product description. And it will search both of those things. So that's kind of nice. Okay. And then, what did we say for our rate here? Okay, this will populate. We're going to enter $250 for the rate. Sorry, I got distracted. $250. Okay. Step 5. Now, this is where the magic happens, okay? So, in the payment method, we are going to select MasterCard, and it will automatically go to undeposited funds. All right, can you see this? Yeah, okay. Can I scroll this up a little bit? Oh man, technology, guys. Okay, so I feel like I'm the Brady Bunch. Then I can go. This right there, there's the payment method. Okay. All right, so I am selecting. Oh, you still can't see that. My head is in the way. All right. Way up. There we go. All right, so I'm selecting MasterCard. Okay, now, if Craig had QuickBooks Payments, what would happen is that when you select a credit card, you have to select the word credit card from the payment method list. A little button will show up, and it will ask you to put in the credit card number. This is how, again, you have to have QuickBooks Payments to do this. Oh no, we lost somebody. She has a black screen. I think we're okay. All right. Oh, sorry. Tiantris, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. All right, so what's going to happen is when you select credit card, and this also works for ACH, you collect credit card or ACH, then it will prompt you to enter the details of the credit card, okay? I was hoping to have it set up so we could actually be in my real account today, so that I could actually show you how this actually works, because this is going to be important for our exercise later. But I didn't get it set up enough in time because power outage. All right, but anyway, I think I have a picture in the thing right here. Okay, so all right, important note. Okay, if this were an actual company with QuickBooks Payments enabled, you would have the option to enter the credit card details and process the payment directly from the sales receipt. Also notice with this setup, there is no deposit to account. This is because with QuickBooks Payments, you set up the deposit account in the Payments tab of Account and Settings. Okay, so this is what, if you selected credit card and you had QuickBooks Payments, this is what it would look like. You would have enter credit card details. You click this button, a thing pops up where you actually enter the details, and then you're actually able to collect that payment right at that moment, okay? Then in Account and Settings, you have payments. You have a payments tab right here. By the way, this tab is where you apply for QuickBooks Payments. So if you don't have that, that's where you're going to go. And right here, it's already encoded. The QuickBooks Payments is already encoded with the bank account information that when you collect payments, where that goes. So because of that, that field, notice there's no deposit to right here. This is the real thing. And the sales receipt here, normally you would have this deposit to account, okay? Again, this is going to be important later. Okay, so that is what else. Okay, so what else do we need to do? I really wanted to hammer this in because this is super important. All right, so now we're going to click Make Recurring. All right, so we're going to click Make Recurring right down here at the bottom, and now we have a recurring sales receipt. Okay, so right here, let's go to steps 7 through 9. Because Craig wants to automatically charge Gita's credit card every month, he will leave the type as scheduled. Okay, I'm going to talk about the different types. They're scheduled, unscheduled, and reminder. So we'll talk about those in just a second. We're going to enter it 3 days in advance so that we'll have it show up on the register 3 days before it is actually charged. You could just leave that blank, but I always like to have a little bit of a heads up. That's just my preference, but you could leave it blank. Gita asked if Craig could charge her card on the 10th of the month. We're going to use the drop down to select the 10th in the interval section. Okay, so here, okay, so going back, so right now, okay, we're just calling this is the template name, which they just grabbed the customer name, but you could change this. There's scheduled, reminder, and unscheduled are the option, but if you wanted to actually charge it, then you want it to be scheduled. 3 days in advance means that it's going to show up in the register 3 days in advance. Okay, the interval here is, what did we say, the 10th of the month. Okay, so we're going to change that interval. We have some options here for interval: daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly. Notice that there is no quarterly. I can't remember if that's on the test this year, but in previous years that was a thing you had to know for the test, was that there was no quarterly. And it will automatically start at the next date. So today is what March 31st. So if I left this blank, it would automatically assume that it is April 10th, okay? Unless you change the start date. And you can have it be forever, or you can say, I'm only doing it for this specific period of time, okay? So going back to create a recurring transaction. Let's see, hopefully I have covered all of this. Remember that the payment method will be different in a real life scenario. So right here, okay, so this is this saved from what I had done before, the payment method there, the deposit to. If it's QuickBooks payments, you won't see this right here. It'll automatically be encoded. And then next, back to the exercise. Okay, now we're going to click save. Let's see if I went over all of this. Okay, we're going to click save template in just a minute. All right, now the question of what is unscheduled and reminders. Okay, so scheduled means it's always automatically going to happen on that date. You can also choose reminder. I actually use reminder a lot. I love having reminders. And if you set up a reminder, it's going to show you, you're going to see your reminder on your Get Things Done window on your dashboard. Again, I can't show this in the sample company. So these are like pictures of my real stuff, right? So you go on the dashboard and there is the Get Things Done tab, and then it'll say, here, view your reminders. And so I just click that and say, oh, these are the things I have to do today. Okay, I love reminders. The other thing is unscheduled. Unscheduled means it's basically just a saved transaction. So then you could go in and you can select it and you could use it whenever that thing happens. Okay, all right, so sales receipt, and then I'm going to save template. Okay, there's two reasons. Let me take my screen share off for a minute because I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you face to face. All right, there's two reasons why I really wanted to show. Actually, I'm going to say there's three reasons why I really wanted to go over this particular exercise today. The first reason is because somebody asked for it. Not last week, but the week before, somebody was asking questions about QuickBooks payments and how to charge somebody's credit card. I can't remember what this situation was. And I said, oh, let's do that next week. And then I forgot. So I feel bad for that person. If you're on right now, I'm sorry that I forgot you. So number one, I wanted to do it because I said I was going to do it. The second reason that I wanted to show that I always want to hammer this home is because you guys as bookkeepers should always be charging for your services up front. Okay, so you as a bookkeeper should never be sending invoices to your clients at the end of the month. That is bad news. You always want to set up a fee, a monthly fee, and then you charge their credit card or you do an ACH, bank withdrawal. Either way, and you're going to collect. You should never place yourself in a position where you are chasing your clients for payments. Okay, so super important. That was reason number two. Reason number three is related to the exercise we're going to do next. Because if you have QuickBooks payments and you are collecting money that way, then the process of the exercise we're going to do today is just slightly different. And so I wanted to show I wanted to be able to show you how that's a little bit different. Okay, somebody asked a question. Let's see. Normally, we would change the deposit to drop down to checking when they pay with a credit card in a regular sales receipt situation because it would go directly to our bank in real life. Probably, maybe, I don't know. It depends on how it's set up. It depends on how they're collecting the money and where it's going to go. So chances are good it's going to go directly into checking. Maybe somebody has I don't know, profit first setup, and which means they're using different accounts for different things. By that I mean different bank accounts for different things. It's just going to vary. Probably, yes, if they're collecting a credit card payment, then it's going to go directly into the checking. But you never, always verify. Okay. And I don't know how they're collecting payments. So if they're collecting payments with PayPal, then that's a thing. If they're collecting payments with Stripe, that's a different thing. So always verify. But you know what? The important thing is that you know how it works in QBO, right? So if you understand the process, then you can set it up correctly. So Mike says, would it go to undeposited funds? Probably not. It's going to go to undeposited funds because probably the credit card is going to go right into an account somewhere. Undeposited funds is really for the paper stuff. So like a physical check that you receive or cash. That's really typically what undeposited funds is going to be used for. Okay. All right, so let's talk now about our next exercise. I'm excited about this because this exercise is coming up in the April issue of the QBO Gym. And the reason that I wanted to talk about this is because I learned so much creating this exercise. I just thought when I came up with this scenario, I thought that it would work one way. And then as I was building the exercise, I realized that I actually misunderstood the process. And so I kind of had to relearn it. And I thought, I need to talk with my people about this because they need to understand, because I was totally confused. I didn't think I was confused. I thought that I knew exactly how it works. But then when I dove deeper, I realized, that's not it exactly. And I don't want anybody else to go through my same level of pain. So, anyway, let's go back. Let me go back to my desktop for a moment. Talk just briefly about the QBO Gym. All right, where can you see? Okay, so I gotta make sure. I need to find some time to do some training on my streaming service here, so I understand exactly what I'm doing. Okay, so this is not the gym. This is the locker room. What am I doing? Okay. Here we go. Here's the gym. All right. So if you are not yet familiar with the QBO Gym, then this is our monthly subscription product. So you have, as a member of the locker room, you have access to nearly 100 always growing hands-on exercises in QBO. But they are individual standalone exercises. The QBO Gym gives you lifelike experience of actually being a bookkeeper. So what we say is that it's on-the-job experience without having a job. So many people we heard from say, well, I passed the test and I got my certification, but I don't feel confident at all. I don't really understand how the pieces all fit together, and I don't really want to, I'm scared now to go apply for a job or go get clients because I kind of don't know what I'm doing. So the QBO Gym gives you it's like a flight simulator. You get to step in and actually be a bookkeeper for our fictitious business owner. And as you sit down and you go through your daily activities, and it's all put together as in one giant scenario that you are working with Craig, the business owner, on. Okay. So Joel is the name of my husband and also my assistant here in the thing. Joel has posted the link if you want to check out. If you're here on the call live, we're giving you the exercise free, so you can get it free. If you're watching the replay, then you can get a 7-day free trial to the gym. You can access all of the exercises, including this one, and check it out and see how cool it is. So this is the exercise we're going to walk through. And let me just read the scenario, and then you can, somebody says, oh, this is a comment here. Let me pull this up. This is really good. This is somebody who didn't give us permission to use their name, so I don't know who it is, but it says, you definitely hit the nail on the head. That is so true. You don't feel very confident even after taking the training. This QBO gym, I guess you can see it all. All right, this QBO gym makes a world of difference in building your confidence. Good. That's exactly this. That is precisely what we are doing, is we're helping you actually get, it's like having an internship. That's really what it's like, so that you can get experience, on-the-job experience without getting a job. So, and building up your confidence. So that's awesome. Thank you, whoever you are that said that. All right, so let's read our scenario. Again, this is from the April issue. So today's March 31st. So nobody has this. Well, I have a secret group of people that have seen it, but the general public has not seen this. So those of you who are on live, this is your lucky day. If you are in the gym, it'll show up tomorrow. And if you're watching the recording, then of course you will, you'll just get it and you'll have it. So, all right. Oh, somebody asked, when is the last day for this discount? Okay, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. All right, so I'm just going to make my face big again. All right, here's what happened. So have you ever seen an ad where or had a marketer say, oops, we made a mistake, and because of our mistake, you get to win, right? It's our mistake, and you reap the benefits of our mistake. Have you heard commercials people saying that? And if you're like me, then you think, yeah, right. You planned this all along. This is just a marketing gimmick. This is not for real. Okay. So I'm telling you right now, this was genuinely a mistake. This was not a marketing gimmick. This was genuinely a mistake. We thought that we could give you. So right now, if you followed the link that Joel just posted today on March 31st, if you followed the link, then it said there's a discount and it's going away. There's a countdown, right? And it's supposed to end today. So today is supposed to be the last day that you can get $20 off every month for your entire gym membership, okay? And then what was supposed to happen is that in April, we were putting in a different coupon, so you would just get $20 off your first month. So right now it's $20 off forever. Then April, it was supposed to be just $20 off your first month, and then it goes up to the regular price after that. That was the plan. We did all of that, that was the whole plan. And then we found out that our service will not allow us to do that. We cannot give you a $20 off your first month and a 7-day free trial. So I said, well, they have to have a 7-day free trial, because I personally hate signing up for subscriptions of things that I don't have a chance to look at it and see if I like it or if it's helpful or whatever. I don't ever want to spend money on something that I don't know what it is. So I said, I'm always going to have a 7-day free trial. And so because we're always having a 7-day free trial, we can't have also, in addition to that, the $20 off your first month. And so we just decided yesterday that we're going to run the same special through April. So through April, the end of April, you can still get the gym $20 off for forever. So that was not a marketing gimmick. I'm telling you, that was not a marketing gimmick. That actually happened. So I don't know, if I watch other marketers now and they say that, oh, our mistake is your benefit, or whatever. I don't know. Like, should I trust them? Like, is that genuine? Because now I know it genuinely happened to me. Or are really other people using it as a gimmick? I don't know. I don't know, but I'm telling you it happened to me. So, all right. I got sidetracked by whoever that was. All right, let's go back because this exercise is so juicy. It's so good. We only have 20 minutes left. Last week I went over time because I talked too much. So hopefully we'll get through it because there's a lot of moving pieces with this. So here's our scenario. Paulson Medical Supplies sent in a check to cover the recent work Craig did for them, but they sent in the amount of the estimate, not the amount of the invoice, and ended up overpaying. When you called them about this, they said they would like to apply it to some tree trimming. Let's see how you will handle this. Okay, you will need the check from Paulson prior to completing this exercise. Click the button under the animated video in the warm-up section to download it. Okay, so that's part of the gym. We're just going to talk about the check. You don't have to actually download it in order to follow along today. Okay. All right. So the first thing, and here's another thing about the gym, is that the gym always has problems. So that was one of the things when we were doing market research in the beginning, is that people said, troubleshooting is the hardest part. And so, so they said, will there be training on troubleshooting? And so I was like, oh, I guess there will be. So there are always problems in the gym, and always things that you have to figure out and you always have to solve and look at it. Okay. Lindsay says, do you know if you need to give eChem access for each live stream, or does it carry over? I believe it carries over. So once you've given access, you don't have to do it again. So thank you. All right, so let's see how to do this. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to investigate what happened. Okay, so how did I know that they sent in the amount for the invoice or for the estimate and not the invoice? Okay, so let's investigate what happened. As you can see, the check you received from Paulson Medical Supplies was $1,005. So in the gym, you actually get a copy of that check. And you'd be able to look at it and, and do this. But all right. But now I'm just telling you that's what it is. Okay. So $1,005. Let's look at how you would have figured out what happened. Okay. So you got a check for $1,005. You'd be like, well, that's not the amount of the invoice. What's going on here. Okay. So when you received the check, the first thing you would do is begin a receive payment transaction. Okay. So we're going to click plus new and then select receive payment. Plus new. And then receive payment. All right, while that's loading, we'll go over here. In the customer field, type, then select Paulson Medical Supplies. Okay, so here we are in our receive payment. Paulson Medical Supplies, type, then select. Okay, remember our check is for $1,005. But now here's the invoice that we are receiving the payment for. And look, it's only $954. So you'd be like, this is you as a bookkeeper. You get the check and then you go into to record it and you're like, wait a minute, this isn't the right amount. So then what do you do? Okay, so you go, let's see what here. After you select them, QBO will present a list of outstanding invoices. Paulson Medical Supplies only has one invoice, but notice that the amount does not match the amount of the check. What's going on here? So we're going to go ahead and click to close this. We're going to click this X. You guys can see this, right? Okay. And then yes, without saving. Okay. So that's what we did. Okay, then step 4. Let's look at Paulson's history to see if we can figure out what happened. From the left nav bar, click Sales, then click Customers. Okay, so click Sales and then click Customers. This is not the new left nav bar. Oh, it is, but it's a little different. Oh, this is a third version of the left nav bar, guys. Oh, interesting. Let's see if this one sticks. Let's see if this is what they're going to stay with. I don't know. Crazy into it. Okay. All right. So sales and then customers. So then step 5, scroll to locate, then click Paulson Medical Supplies. Okay, so we're scrolling. Make sure my face is not blocking it. Paulson Medical Supplies right there. So now we're going to click it. And while that's loading, we'll go back to our exercise here. Step 6, okay? From here, you can immediately see that the check amount is the amount of the estimate. But why was the invoice less? Let's take a look. Okay, so here's our list, okay, and here is our estimate. You can see right there $1,005, and here's the invoice. So you can see how they made that mistake, right? So so they sent in the check. Okay, so now, like, what do we do about this? Okay, so the answer, at first glance, it seems that the invoice, I forgot a step. Hold on, wait. Step 6. But why was the invoice less? Let's take a look. Click the invoice. Okay. Okay, so we're going to click invoice. All right, the answer. At first glance, it seems that the invoice matches the estimate and check, but scroll further and notice that a discount has been applied. You ask Craig about this, and he remembers that he offered them a military discount, which the previous bookkeeper applied to the invoice. This is what caused the mix-up. Okay, so let's go look at this closely. Okay, so if you look at this part right here, this matches the estimate. This right here, can you see? Yeah, okay, so right here, $1,005, that should be, like, that's how much they sent in. But if you scroll further, look, somebody added a discount of 5%, okay? Why would they add a discount? I don't know, I just made that up, that it's a military discount, okay? So they applied, so that's what happened, okay? So now you know what happened. So the question now is, what do you do about it, okay? So let's go back to our exercise, applying the overage. So when you called Paulson, they said they wanted to apply the overpayment to some additional service. Let's see how to do that. Okay, so first you close out the current invoice with some of the money from the check. Okay, so you're going to do that receive payment again. So here we are, here's the invoice. We're going to click receive payment. Then in the amount received, we're going to type in the amount of the check, which is $1,005. Okay, now when I tab out of that, notice what happened down here. Okay, it says this transaction will create an additional credit in the amount of $50.25. Okay, and it says right here, amount to credit, $50.25. Okay, so that's what we want. We want to create that credit, okay? Because we're going to apply that credit to the tree trimming. So go to steps 2 and 3. Joel, this one should say steps 2 and 3 also. All right. Okay. And the amount, notice that QBO will create a credit for the amount of the overage. Now we're going to click save and close. We have to click this and then save and close. Okay, so now we've got a credit out there. Okay, Paulson Medical Supplies said they wanted to apply their credit to some tree trimming. You cannot apply a credit to a sales receipt. Okay, this is one thing that I learned when I was creating this exercise. You have to create you can only apply credits to invoices. Okay, the reason is, if you're interested, the reason is because credits are always for the future and invoices are for the future, and the sales receipt is it's like right now. Okay, so anyway, so we have to create an invoice and apply it to the invoice even if we're not going to send the invoice to Paulson. So we're going to click plus new and select invoice. Okay, plus new. Select invoice. I don't know why that's cut off for you guys. I'm gonna have to figure that out. All right, hopefully you guys can figure it out. All right. Let's see. All right, so we select new invoice. Okay, step 5. My head is in the way there. Okay, so step 5. In the customer field, we're going to enter Paulson Medical Supplies, and in the product service grid, select landscaping trimming. Okay, let's just do that much. Okay, so here we are, Paulson. Here we're going to select the trimming. Okay, so now we've got $35. Well, guess what? Their credit was, do you remember, $50.25. So we're going to apply the credit here, but there's still going to be some overage. Okay, now you can, when you click Save and Send, or Save and Close, if you click either of those things, then it will automatically apply the credit, okay? But I want to feel good about knowing that the credit was applied, okay? I don't want to send it off somewhere before I know the credit has been applied. That's just me. And so that's why I have this next part of the step, which is apply the credit, click the black Save button. So if you click the black Save button, that means you're just going to save it and stay on the screen, and then you'll get this message. So to click Save, and notice you get this little message. We applied an existing credit of $35 to this invoice. Okay, so that then now it's still on the screen, and now you can see that this invoice has been paid. You can see that the balance due is 0. That just, for me, in my heart, it just makes me feel better. I don't want it to get off the screen until I know that that's been done. So that's why I do it that way. Okay. All right. So that was that step. So step 6. Okay. We clicked OK to confirm. Notice that there was, this was just to confirm that you know it. This was not an, are you okay with this? Are you sure you want to do that? That's not that. It's just hey, we're doing it, just so you know. So we're going to click, that's why we're clicking OK. All right. Now, the reason QBO automatically applied the credit is that it was set up to do this in the Account and Settings Advanced tab. If this option were off, we would have to apply the credit manually. So we're not going to do this right now, but you can see if you go to Account and Settings, gear icon, and then this tab Advanced, you'll notice that there is this option in the automation section that says automatically apply credits. And that's why when I clicked Save, it automatically applied that credit. If I didn't, and you can play around with this on your own, then if you didn't, then you would have to apply it in the same way that you apply any other payment. You'd have to click the Receive button. Okay. All right. We have somebody else that says your screen is blank, but I think we're all still otherwise good. So I don't know why that happens sometimes. Sorry. All right, so issuing the refund. Okay, so now we've used $35 for out of the $50.25. But now there's still some money, and what are you going to do with this money? Okay, issuing the refund, and this this is going to get into why. This is why I wanted to show you about the QuickBooks payments and the sales receipt in the beginning. Okay, so QBO has applied. Let me use my highlight. QBO has applied $35 worth of credit to the invoice, resulting in a balance of 0. There is still a credit left on the account, however, since the total payment was more than this. You call Paulson again, and they tell you it would be fine to send a check. Okay, so now you're going to send them a check, and how are you going to record this? Okay, now let's go back to our, we're going to go back to, I'm going to close out of this now. Now that I've saved it, now that I know, I'm going to hit Save and Close. Okay, now Here's why I showed you the thing before. There is a transaction called refund receipt, okay? So there is refund receipt that you might think, and in fact, this is what I did think when I first started creating this exercise, is I thought, oh, we'll just use a refund receipt for the difference, okay? But the refund receipt is only good if you, it has to be a refund for a particular thing. Okay, so somebody bought a garden gnome, the garden gnome was broken, and you give them their money back for the garden gnome. Okay, so that's a one-to-one match for the thing. Okay, or you refund, 50% of it. Okay, so it matches the thing. Okay, if you have QuickBooks Payments, and this is why I wanted to show you this. Before, if you collected the money in the first place with QuickBooks Payments, then when you went into a sales receipt, so I'm going to go, no, not expense, Margie, what are you doing? All sales. Where is the sales receipt that I just created? Didn't I create a sales receipt for Gita? Oh, you know what? It didn't save because I just made it a recurring one. Okay. So we'll just use this one from Pies Cakes, whatever. So if I edit the sales receipt, come on, edit the sales receipt. You can do it. There we go. All right. So if I have QuickBooks Payments and I used QuickBooks Payments to collect the money from this sales receipt. How come you can't see my finger? There we go. If I had QuickBooks Payments and I used QuickBooks Payments for this sales receipt, then I could refund the money using the More button. This is what I learned. And I really wanted to show this on my actual live account, but I couldn't because I didn't get it set up in time. But anyway, you would use this More button, and there is an option here, and I actually tested this in my own account to make sure it was accurate, that there is a refund option in here. Okay, that's only if this sales receipt was collected, if the money was collected using QuickBooks Payments, then you can refund it, that same sales receipt, using the More button. There's an option here that says refund. Okay, so I learned that. I learned that while I was creating this exercise. Then, so that's how you do it if you have QuickBooks Payments. If you are refunding money for a specific item, then you could also use the refund receipt. If you're not actually using QBO to send the money back, you're just recording that you sent the money back, you could use this, but you cannot do it for an overpayment. For an overpayment, you have to follow the instructions that I have here. So let's go to step 1. Okay, so we clicked save and close. I already did that. All right, credit remaining. You can see from this transaction list, let me go show you the transaction list because that's good to see. You should probably, if you are following along the exercise, you would still be in the transaction list. For me, I was exiting out of it, and so I'm now all over the place. All right, I'm just going back to Paulson here. Okay, here is our transaction list for Paulson. Here's all of the stuff that has happened with Paulson. Here's that estimate. Here is that invoice. It's now marked as paid, okay? And there was an overage right here, okay? Then we have our second invoice for the tree trimming. We used some of it. Well, this is the overage that's left, okay? So this minus $15.25. Okay, so that's how you know how much you still owe them, and you have to you're going to write a check for. Note that unless you collected the original payment using QuickBooks Payments, You cannot use QBO itself to refund the money, okay? One option would be to use the money transfer service offered at Craig's Bank, or a service such as Zelle or Venmo, okay? You could also use Melio Bill Pay. But for our example, Paulson said it's okay to send them a check. So for us and the sample company, that's going to be the easiest thing to do. Oh, look, this is what I just said. In our case, Paulson has said they would like a check. You will record this using an expense transaction. Okay, so we're going to create an expense plus new. And note that even though, okay, expense is in the vendor's column, we can still use it for a customer, which is another thing that I learned while I was creating this exercise. Okay. All right, so the payee, well, let me not get ahead of myself. Okay, even though this is in the vendor column, you'll still be able to select customer. Okay. Here's the little note about the refund receipt. You can't use a refund receipt for an overpayment. It's designed to be used when a customer needs to be refunded on the sale of a particular item on a sales receipt or invoice. So then steps 3 and 4. Okay. So now we're going to complete the expense as follows. We're going to, in the payee field, we're going to say Paulson Medical Supplies. We're going to pay them out of the checking account. We're going to use a check out of the checking account. Okay, so we're going to say Paulson Medical Supplies. We're paying them out of the checking account, and we are using a check. Okay, and then we would put in the check number. Okay, we will assume that you have already written the check to Paulson, meaning you're not using QBO to generate the check. You're handwriting it. So in the reference number field, we're going to enter the number of the check that you wrote. We're going to say that it's 2016. 2016. I don't know why to print is still sticking there. Okay. Okay, the money that was received was credited to the accounts receivable account. So when paying back Paulson, you will take it out of this account. In the category field, enter accounts receivable. Okay, so category, accounts receivable. We got too much money in accounts receivable, and so now we're taking it out of accounts receivable and sending it to Paulson. Okay, in the description, we're going to enter refund for overpayment. So I'm going to type this, and then I'm going to read to you what I wrote there because it's important. Refund for overpayment. Okay, you never type as bad as when you're on a live stream. When all these eyes are on you, that's when you type the worst. Okay, so this is super important. Note that you could be even more descriptive here. So all we said was refund for overpayment. You could be even more descriptive here or in the memo field by stating the invoice number they overpaid, but it is further complicated by the credit that has already been applied. In a real life scenario, you should use your best judgment to leave a record that best describes the situation. You could even use the notes field in the customer record to do this. Okay, so in a real life scenario, it's not on the screen. Well, I'll show you the notes field in just a minute. Okay, so for the amount, we are, what is it, 1525. 15.25. Okay, we don't have to say that which customer it is because we already have the customer selected. Then we're going to hit save and close. And here is the transaction list for our customer. And notice this is all cleaned up. Okay, so now this negative 1525 has been counteracted by this 1525, and the customer balance is 0. This is how much they've given us total, and there we go. Now, on this screen, you can add notes here. See what I'm saying? So you could add notes to the customer record if you wanted to go into more detail about, everything that happened. you just want to use your best judgment and to be as clear as possible. You don't want to, write a novel, but you also want to write something so that they know what's going on. All right, guys. That's it. All right, we did it. I'm only 6 minutes over time. And since I was 2 minutes over time, then maybe I'm only 4 minutes over time. All right, Lindsay has a question. Let me put it on here. Let's see. Add to broadcast. Why is that clear up there? Let me put it. Now that's covering my face. See, I don't know how to do these things, guys. All right. How's that? All right. Lindsay says, would we only ever use the check option under vendor if we are using checks sent from QBO? I know you mentioned that, but I didn't know if that was the only situation where we would ever use check under vendor. Would that then automatically create an expense? All right, let me answer the last part of your question first, and that is yes. So when you use the check feature under the vendor list, you are automatically creating an expense, okay? The main purpose of that checks transaction is for when you are using the feature in QBO to generate a check. So QBO is going to print the check actually for you. That's the main purpose of that transaction. So if you are writing a check, you can still use the expense transaction. If you're handwriting the check, you can still use the expense transaction. You can still indicate payment method as check. You can put the reference number as the check number and be fine. The main purpose of that check transaction is if you're using the QBO feature to generate checks. And I think that was in the February issue of the gym where we taught you actually how to do that. It's being used less and less and less now. So if you have to write a check these days, you're probably just it's so rare that you probably are just gonna handwrite it. I mean, that's me. I've never actually personally used the QBO check writing feature because it's kind of, honestly, it's kind of ancient. So anyway, hopefully that answers your question. Let's see. I think I got everything. Okay. Let's see. Oh, by the way, pretty picture, Lindsay. What is that? Ocean. Oh, that's my kind of thing. All right. Let's see. She says, here's another one. If I put that back up, that's what I thought, but I want to make sure. Thank you so much for answering the questions with so much clarity. You're welcome. I am all about clarity. That is one of our 3 core values here. So clarity, competence, and confidence. That's what we're trying to do. So I find it interesting that when I added you the second time, it didn't resize the screen. I'm still learning these tools, guys. Anyway. All right. I think that's it, unless I don't see any more questions pop up in the chat. If you're in the middle of typing one, then type fast because I'm about to wrap it up and I'm about to say goodbye. And all right, so there we go. I just got the gym now. It's a Facebook user. I don't know who that is. Yay, awesome. And I hope you enjoy it. And next time, give eCam permission so I know who you are and I can say, yay, welcome to the gym. And I'm excited for the April issue. It's going to be in your dashboard tomorrow. And yeah, it's exciting stuff. All right, well, I think that's it. Mike, you're welcome. And I'm delighted to be here. I'm so glad that I have the opportunity. I'm so glad the power came on and we could... It's hard to give eCam permission. Why is that? What makes it hard? I don't know. I would love to know the answer to that. So there was something else I was in the middle of saying. I don't remember. So, all right. Well, I was saying I'm glad the power came on. So the power came on so we could be here today, which is awesome. We had so many, I don't know, it doesn't work for me. I don't know. Write to us, support at Fast and Easy QBO, so that we know who you are, and we'll see if we can get it figured out. Yeah, I mean, eCam is new to me too, but it seems to be working much better than the services that we were using before and tried. So we had one service that we were using, and they had some really neat tools. It was way more user friendly for me on my end, but the quality of the eventual recording was just so bad that I couldn't handle it anymore. Then we tried another one, and that didn't work because, I don't know, it didn't work because I tried to go live with it, and I couldn't even go live. So this is our third one, so third time's a charm. Anyway, all right, guys, I think that's enough jibber jabber. Have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you next time. I can't wait to hear your success story. Bye-bye.